counts. Counts 1 and 2 charge the crime of aggravated murder in the first degree.
One day I saw an account of a particularly brutal murder. What intrigued me wasn't the crime itself, but the way the murderer talked about his victims. Not as people, but as mere enemies.
The trial is set for June.
On Christmas Eve, 1985, David Rice rang the doorbell, pretending to deliver a package to a family he'd been told were communists. They weren't. Using a toy gun he purchased for $3, he forced the father, the mother, and 2 young children onto the floor, face down, and handcuffed the adults behind their backs. He said he was looking for information, but when they told him that dinner guests were coming, he panicked. He chloroformed the family. Then one by one, he struck them in the head repeatedly with the sharp end of a clothing iron. When he found their hearts still beating, he used a kitchen knife in the head wounds and in the chest. Then he turned out the lights and left by the back door. In June of 1986, he would be convicted of murder and sentenced to death. I knew this man wasn't normal. Perhaps he wasn't even sane. I also knew that it can be very misleading to draw parallels between an individual's experience and that of a nation. But there was a disturbing similarity between his rhetoric and the way political leaders try to justify their killing of enemies. So I didn't expect, by meeting a murderer, to understand the complexities of international conflicts. But I did think that someone who claimed that he killed for ideological reasons might give me some clues into the process of enemy making.
Going to 11?
Correct.
Okay.
A lot of people are going to say I'm psycho or something like that, but there really is a definite plan to turn this world into a one-world communist government. It's proven and it's evident. All you have to do is look around.
Who are the one? I mean, who are the ones that try and take over? And what other kinds of things have you seen that led you to this?
You can, like I said, you can just look around. The thing that really got to me and brought me into this was the fact that I had trained for a welding job, and I trained very hard for about a year, and I got one job out of that, and I was doing okay until the shop shut down. And I went on for just over a year before I finally came to the conclusion that something is definitely wrong. You know, something is wrong. This country does not get in this kind of shape without somebody actually putting it in that shape. And if you look around, all you have to do is open your eyes and see that, yeah, it's being done purposefully. And I believe it was in I think it was 67, that Khrushchev said that they would destroy our country and they wouldn't fire a shot doing it. In order to do that, they'll take the United States and they'll cause a civil war to do it.
You couldn't get anything more inappropriate if you tried than Rice killing this family of 4 totally innocent people. How is it that innocent people become enemies? Enemies so monstrous that they have to be destroyed. As I listened to Rice, I began to get a sense that his world was in shambles, that he felt totally threatened, and he needed to find somebody to blame. He needed an enemy. Well, where did you find out about this, and who told you about this, and where?
Like all the time you see on the street, little pamphlets, people pass around, maybe watching a videotape of maybe a speech
Of?
General Moore.
General Jack Moore and the Christian Patriots group.
Right.
Of what? Do you remember what they were about?
I remember one in particular that really hit me was when he mentioned that there were troops on either border.
In 1977, the Gulf of Baja, California, December the 3rd, 1976, excuse me, there was a 27-ship convoy of Russian ships came around the point of the Baja and landed in these two areas here. These ships came in at nighttime. By the next morning, they had been unloaded. They had been loaded onto flat cars that were waiting in this area here at this point, and this point. And from there, they were camouflaged, and they were sent up. Look where they went. Right up here to the border, from here to the border, another branch to the border here, up to the border at El Paso.
It is a war. It's always been a war. Even right up from World War II on. We have not been fighting the Koreans. We've not been fighting the Vietnamese. We've not been fighting the South Americans. We've been fighting the Soviets.
Clearly, Rice was not a soldier and had never been. But his delusions were based on reality. We perceive the Soviets as our enemy. And they perceive us as theirs.